And we are back once again with Slime Isekai Memories. Today we are here doing something a bit different. Back then there was a bunch of events that released that I never did, and I'm pretty sure you can see most of the events right here. Now I'm currently wanting to fix that and actually do the events. So that's what I'm gonna do here. Start going through these events. But the first event was Interview with the Demon Butler. Also, before I do this, I just want you guys to know, some of these I did do in the past, but I just never uploaded it since that was like when I was actually starting to take slime content seriously. It took me forever to get to the events, which I think it was like the training places was like the first one I ever started doing. So trying to get that all in order, it just took me a while to get to them, and then plus juggling the other events. So Interview with the Butler, I do have the original video and will post it in the comments / description, one of those two, where you guys can watch my cringy beginning and see how I sound back then to now when I do the story dubs. I don't know what you want to call it, or just readings. Interview with the Demon Butler, Part 1. Ahahaha. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I would introduce myself, but I am merely a nameless demon. I kind of remember some things about this event, and some other things I don't exactly remember. Just like with the other demons up to this point, Diablo was the first one to have an interview. In the past, some have called me Noir, but that is not appellants I'm very fond of, or appellation I'm very fond of. I have no idea how to say that word. But man, Diablo is such a badass demon. I just wish he wasn't such a fanboy of Rimuru. I prefer to be called Kuro, but more recently, that has also changed. Great Rimuru has given me a new name, a real name, Diablo. It is a great honor and pleasure. I would like to share what I'm feeling with all of you. As such, I've decided to set up an interview to tell you more about how Great Rimuru and I first met. It's a fascinating story, really. I'm sure you'll find it both entertaining and deeply moving. Also, from what I'm remembering, this is either Rain or Misery, or possibly both of them. And they're just trying to get stories of Rimuru from people, or at least the primordial demons. I trust there are no objections? Good. Then I'll begin. But where should I start? Yeah, I'm pretty sure this was from an OVA, which I don't think I ever watched this OVA, or if I did, it didn't stick with me. It's about Diablo. Perhaps with my interest in observing humanity, I find humans absolutely remarkable creatures. You see, their so-called souls are beautiful, shining like lights in the darkness. That, combined with their prosperity for strong emotions, make them a source of endless fascination for me. Once, I summoned by the minister of a certain kingdom. I remained by his side until the day he died. His foolishness truly knew no bounds. It was highly entertaining. On another occasion, I answered the call of a lonely noblewoman. I helped her achieve her ambition to take revenge on those who wronged her. I also helped a young lad who had dreams of becoming a champion. Though in his case, it was my own curiosity that drew me to him. He was just so weak, so reckless, yet always put the happiness of others ahead of his own. He was quite a foolish human. There were others, of course, and all of them were just as fascinating and strong-willed. Willpower, ambition, call it what you will. That's what really refines and polishes a soul. Also, why did he talk on this one? Hold on, wait. I guess they just never put a voice line for this. No matter how filthy a soul may seem at first sight, with the right ambition, it can become as bright and beautiful as any jewel. It's the beauty that I admire most about humans. It's why I'm so drawn to those with strong wills. That brings me to one day, when I was observing the living world as usual, when I felt it. The whispering of a soul with an intense desire. You will pay. I swear, you will pay for this. As you can imagine, that piqued my interest. Alas, the human was already at death's doors. Not that it made any difference to me. I simply stated my terms. But yeah, what? Do they keep not having lines for him? Like, come on. I don't remember if these were, like, voiced back then when I did them. But it's so weird. It's been 2 years and a few months at this point, and they haven't, like, put back the voice lines for this. I guess they don't want to, like, ask the voice actor to come back and do these lines. Ahahaha. Is it you who dares to summon me from such a lonely station? That's how I open the conversation. Most humans are struck dumb with fear just from seeing me appear before them. But this one was different. She stubbornly held on to life long enough to make her plea. If you'll grant my wish, I don't care if you're a demon. I'll gladly give you anything, even my soul. So please, make them pay. Ahahaha. It was really a beautiful sight. Getting to witness such a pure and simple request, straight from the heart, was payment enough for me. Her bright, shining soul had charmed me. Also, I really love this. Like, just everything is blacked out aside from his eyes and his single strand of red hair. Very well. Granting your wish will give me something to do, at least. We formed our contract, and I set about granting her last request. Honestly, maybe in that contract, she could have asked for some healing or something. Like, I don't know. I feel like Diablo's powers are strong enough to where even if she was that close to death, with just like a touch of his power, she could have healed up mostly. Unless there's something about slime lore that I don't know. That it's like, it's impossible for him to bring someone back from death's doors. However, this presented me with several problems. Chief among them was my lack of a physical body. Naturally, I claimed my summoner's flesh for my own. Under normal circumstances, I'd have harnessed the power of her soul as well. But the soul was just so enchanting that I allowed it to pass into the great beyond, along with their husbands. God, that would have been so messed up if like he was like, oh, you're so beautiful, but your husband's ain't, so I'm taking his. And then somehow the wife's soul sees that the husband's not coming, and the husband is just pleading to go with the wife. That's not something I do for just anyone. I had to make up the difference by tracking down her attackers and executing revenge on them. For those of you who don't know, we demons have all kinds of limitations placed on us. Even just observing humanity is no easy feat. We quite literally live in a different world after all, ones that never truly intersect. As such, even I was unable to keep this world under constant observation. I had to work within the limits of my archdemon form. I'd build up enough energy to peek into the living world, and once that power was used up, repeat the process again. Well, it was a little easier for me than it is for other demons, since I didn't have a fixed location that I used as a base. I was free to travel as I saw fit. Likewise, amassing followers never appealed to me. Too much hassle. It was only on a very few rare occasions that I found someone worthy of making my servant. On the bright side, this meant I didn't have to divide my power amongst others too much. I was able to act more freely than most of my fellow demons, and I must stress that I was an exception to the rule. Once I had my body in order, I made my way to the kingdom's castle, a place filled to the brim with secrets and lies. It was so amusing. I could barely keep a straight face, and I got there at just the right time. To put it simply, the request was to defeat a demon that recently had been revived. Even as she died, that desire for revenge had never altered. Revenge on whom, you may ask? As it happens, there were several targets, all of them present in that place. All of them were demons too. It's not too hard to imagine they were responsible for killing my erstwhile summoner. And the one behind it all occupied the very upper echelons of the kingdom's court. Knights who made such a show of clamoring for this demon to be defeated were in fact demons themselves. Can you believe the hypocrisy of it all? From there, granting my summoner's wish would be a simple matter. I'd defeat each and every demon there until one of them agreed to take me to their leader. There were some bona fide human knights among the crowd, but I wasn't about to waste my time showing them mercy. If they met their end at my hands, so be it. If they'd really been paying attention, they'd have noticed there was something off about their superiors sooner. In a way, anything that happened to them would be their own fault. That went not only for the knights, but also the many adventurers who'd assembled there. If anybody dared to get in my way, I deal with them accordingly. But then, Do you intend to slaughter everyone here to find the demon? A lone adventurer stepped forward to confront me. Her name was Shizu Izawa. Shizu to her friends, I understand. Alas, I've had very few opportunities to refer to her by that name. At the time, I assumed that she was just another human with more bravado than sense. Man, I really am sad that Shizu never got to interact with most of the cast of Slime. Like, everyone came after her death. Like, the only people to really see Shizu were the wolves and the goblins. None of the other creatures like the orcs, ogres, and anybody else really got to see Shizu. Which is sad, because I thought it would have been so cool seeing all their interactions with each other. But I feel like at that point in the series, if Shizu stayed around, like the village, she would have been the most overpowered character in there. Because I'm pretty sure she can take on most threats they had at that point. I feel like up to the orc disaster is like her strength limit, but then again, in where we are in the anime and stuff, I'm pretty sure we haven't seen like what Shizu can really do. Maybe in the light novels or manga, they have shown off like what Shizu's real strength was. So, true to the original intention, I attempted to eliminate her. However, my attitude was the very height of arrogance. When she took my fireball head-on without even flinching, I realized how wrong I'd been about her. Flames have no effect on me, she said. It turned out she was an elementalist. Not only that, but she wielded the power of Ifrit, a superior spirit. I can only blame my foolish pride for not recognizing such a remarkable power. Further proof of her being needed, though Shizu had completely united with the spirit, she remained human in appearance. She'd be able to pass as human in the crowd, and no one would ever suspect, not even me. Now, superior spirits are said to be the natural enemy of we archdemons. Perhaps Shizu was feeling a little arrogant herself. If she'd been facing anyone else but me, she would have triumphed easily. But I knew that I'd have no trouble matching her in combat. The difference in our strength was just too great. I had to augment my body with a little magic to keep up. That was all. That proved to be just the handicap I needed. Our battle was the most fun I'd had in a long time. So wait, I thought he gave himself a little boost, but apparently he handicapped himself? With a little magic to keep up, that was all. Or I'm guessing that's the only ability he's doing. So then he's like, okay, I'm only gonna use my right arm and no swords or any other kind of weapon or magic to fight. I knew it would be stimulating, to say the least, but this went beyond my expectations. Shizu even honored me with one of her infernal flame attacks. That's the kind of skill that would overwhelm a normal human body. Shizu was able to wield a superior spirit's power so masterfully, all on her own. She even inflicted real, culpable pain on me. I was full of admiration for her. But all too soon, it was time for the fun to end. And there's the end of part 1. I'm pretty sure part 2 was like a battle, and then it was part 3. The longer the battle dragged on, the more power I'd consume, and I wasn't about to leave without doing what I'd come to do. So, I decided to get serious and bring the fight to an end. One final strike to put my opponent out of her misery. That's what I had planned, but that's not what happened. Imagine my surprise when Shizu's mask reflected my own power back at me. It had been a while since I experienced pain, but several thousand years since I'd been truly shocked like that. That mask felt old. Older by far than even me. Through countless eons, it had remained the same, a universal constant. As dramatic as this sounds, it was something that absolutely should not exist in this world. The way I see it, time is an arrow, moving ever forward toward oblivion. Yeah, I'm still wanting to figure out what that mask even is. Who gave it to Shizu? Like, I'm not entirely sure if Leon gave it to her, so if he created it, or somebody gave it to him. It can be slowed, even stopped, but never reversed. The accumulated time any one object can possess cannot exceed the length of its own existence. That seems like common sense to me. But this mask was different. Had my understanding of time been flawed? No. It was simply that the mask was an outlier, an irregularity. How had she come by such an object? I was fascinated beyond words. I allowed Shizu to live, and withdrew, but that was only the beginning. Also, I wonder, how young is Shizu at this time? Because from the looks of it, she looks like she's normal, like the same size she was when she died. But then again, it's like, I think Shizu was in that world for a while. Like, I don't know how old she is when she died. Like, she could have been a couple 100 years old. Maybe she was like 40 or 30 years old. It's really hard to say, because with Otherworlders, I'm not entirely sure, like, if their lifespans are normal, or because she was given the spear, if she had a longer lasting life. That detail I can't remember from the beginning of the series. That night, Shizu came dangerously close to being killed by an upstart named Orthos. Humans are very weak. Shizu was an accomplished fighter, but she was nowhere near the level of a saint. I was quite surprised knowing how well she used Ifrit's power. In the end, a human is just a human, tire them out, and they'll be unable to fight at full capacity, making for an easy win. Yeah, I don't know how much of this was cut from the OVA or OVAs, but it's like from their first fight to Diablo's withdrawal to like how she even got tired. I'm guessing there was just a bunch of scenes on how she got beat, which I kind of wish they would have shown in this, but I guess they want you to watch the OVA. Such fleeting, fragile creatures. However, it was no longer irrelevant to me. My battle with Shizu had essentially ended in a draw. That meant the world at large would perceive us as being of equal strength. So, if Orthos killed Shizu, that would make it seem like he was stronger than me. I couldn't allow such a rumor to get about. Like, how would that rumor get about? I'm pretty sure Diablo would kill everyone in the room. Like, I guess the rumor to the world, if the world knows that Orthos is stronger, he would have to kill the entire world, possibly. Besides, dying by that weakling's hand would be far too ignoble an end for a warrior capable of inflicting pain. I feel like this should be like capable of inflicting pain on me. Like, I don't know, it feels like they're missing a word or something to just confirm that it's Diablo that he's talking about. So, I kept my promise, granted my summoner's wish, and saved Shizu in the process. We had our fair share of run-ins in the years that followed. Sometimes we'd be enemies, other time, allies. Perhaps our fates were entwined. Well, it was an entertaining way to kill time, at the very least. Years passed, then decades, and then we entered the next chapter. Yeah, see, so this does confirm that she wasn't like just 30 or 40 when she died. Shizu is like a much longer lasting person because she is an otherworlder, and likely because of the spirit inside of her, like, also extending her life. So, I don't know, if I would have to say, she would probably at least be 100, and then still looking like a pretty young looking woman. I kind of think she looks in her 20s, but then she could also be in her 30s. Shizu's journey finally came to an end, in the presence of a certain slime. There's the badass himself. I knew right away that he was someone worthy of being my master. When Shizu's mask actually cracked, it was clear to me that something truly remarkable was taking place. And the fact that Great Rimuru was able to repair it only confirmed my suspicions. The mask remained as it was. Impossible accumulated time and all. That point was its genesis and its destruction. Whatever endless loop had been set in motion, it all led back to this. If I were to observe Great Rimuru, I might finally understand the truth that lies at the heart of all of creation. Man, when Diablo puts it like this, it makes me think that Rimuru is eventually gonna have some godly power. Like, to the certain point right now where I am in the story, which is where the anime is currently at, It's like he does keep getting stronger and stronger. He's like medium Demon Lord level right now. He still needs to get higher and become like a strong Demon Lord, somewhere up to Guy's level or up to Milim's level. And so maybe one day he'll surpass them in the story to where even they can't mess with him. And then eventually become Storm Dragon level, whether that's around the same tier as Milim and Guy, or if not higher than them, and then become like an actual godly being. Which I don't know if there is a god in slime, aside from like the words of the world. That was what I believed. A cause and a master, truly worthy of dedicating my life to. The more I observed him, the more obvious it became that Great Rimuru was no ordinary slime. I mean, of course, he can talk. His appearance alone was enough to soothe any heart or mind. The slick, streamlined form and soft, bouncy texture, they were simply divine. He had a certain dignity, a refinement that others of his species lacked. What? You think all slimes look alike? Okay, Rain or Misery kinda being slime racist, or slime speciest. Aha, you are wrong. There must be something amiss with your vision. Those eyes of yours are clearly not doing their job. Perhaps I should gouge them out for you. Yeah, I feel so insulted for Rimuru. He's gonna try and take on other demons for him. But yeah, the first time like I heard this, it's like it has to be a weak character interviewing everyone. Like over the years, it's like they've added more and more clues on who is actually interviewing, with the other demons commenting on like their names or saying like, oh, you should know this because we're very long history with each other. Diablo's willing to fight with other primordial demons just because they said Rimuru looks like other slimes. He's that offended. Ahem, excuse me. I got a little excited. To return to the story, I was finally able to meet Great Rimuru, the master I was destined to serve. Mere words failed to do justice. You've had enough of me praising his good points. Oh, but I've only just begun. This is where it gets really interesting. You say you're running out of time. I had so many more details I wanted to stress to. Very well, but I plan on revisiting this subject some other time. For now, I'll get back to my story. Wait, what? I was so confused for a second on like what Diablo was talking about. He wanted to keep talking about his story of like saying how great Rimuru is. But what the main demon, Misery or Rain, want to hear is what his story on finally being rebirthed into the world is. I got distracted with him trying to tell his side story, but they just want to hear this story. I really thought they were leaving, being like, yeah, we don't want to hear this, so we're gonna leave. Shizu's last request, her last will and testament, if you will, was to be taken into Great Rimuru's body. As a result of that, he obtained a new human form. Alas, that was the point in which my time ran out. I was crushed that I couldn't observe what happened next. But, as I've said before, we demons have our limitations. Connecting to the living world, even just a peeking at it, consumes power. I didn't take my eyes off Shizu since she met Great Rimuru, so it was inevitable that I'd run out of magic sooner or later. I swallowed down my disappointment and awaited my next opportunity. It turned out to be a rather long wait. Watching the living world for so long had taken its toll on me. Taking a physical form would have been the ideal situation, but it was not to be. To do that, I needed to be summoned first, and nobody saw fit to call on me. Forcefully manifesting myself and asking to be made his follower directly was an option, but not exactly good form. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look good when you're, like, forcefully coming to someone and being like, hey, please make me your disciple, or please let me follow you, or something like that. It's like they want strong people that stand on their own. So it's like them coming to you for help, or letting them do something, and then you have the opportunity to then go join them, is probably like what he was looking for, which eventually he got, as we will get to. And even for me, a move that bold will consume more of my power than I was willing to risk. If anything went wrong, my connection to the living world could be severed for a long, long time. The smart thing to do was wait to be summoned, while building up my power. Great Rimuru did perform a summoning sometime later, but I missed my chance. Perhaps that was my punishment for taking such a passive, offhand attitude toward things. One of my descendants answered that call instead. It took me a while to get over that. Imagine one of your children or long-distance descendants, like, take something from you. Like, no matter if they are family in any sense, it's like, he's gonna be pissed, being like, that should have been me! That was my, like, food, or that was, like, my chance to do something I really wanted. Thinking about it now, if I had been summoned back then, I'd have become a mere follower of Ramorous. So perhaps it's for the best that it turned out the way it did. From now on, I remained vigilant and tried my best to be patient. Man, I really love this, like, frame of Rimuru on Ranga. He's speared by the horns, but he really doesn't care. He's like, Ranga, take me home. But yeah, this is what, like, Rimuru did that was impressive. Like, become the Demon Lord. And so then he had the perfect opportunity once he was summoned to be like, hey, I want to follow you. And then Rimuru's like, okay, fine, whatever. Finally, my chance came when Great Rimuru performed a summoning as part of his ascension to become a Demon Lord. That is something that could be considered a rite of passage, or a trap to weed out the unworthy. During their transformation, the formative Demon Lord falls into a deep slumber and is left defenseless. In need of a protector, Great Rimuru sacrificed 20,000 bodies to summon over 1,000 greater demons. How could I pass up such an opportunity? That was when I manifested under my own power and claimed my reward. Was Rimuru's intentions to bring a bunch of demons to protect him? So he didn't actually want like just Diablo and like his 2 servant minions? So sacrifice 20,000 bodies to summon over 1,000 greater demons, but only 3 demons were summoned. I'm guessing because Diablo summoned himself, like that took the spot of, I don't know, 950 of those demons or 997 of those demons, so he can summon himself and then bring his 2 assistants along. Also, I really wish that they would like name those assistants that died for Diablo, which then died for Rimuru, so he could use them as sacrifices. Of course, the rabble that had gathered there all welcomed me with open arms, never uttering a single compliment. Wait, what? I'm kind of lost here. The rabble that had gathered there all welcomed me with open arms. I don't know if that means he's talking about Tempest or if he's talking about the situation in the picture. Like the 2 King and the advisor, Ranga, and never uttering a single compliment. So yeah, I don't know if he's talking about Tempest or them. Of course, Tempest wouldn't like compliment this guy right away until he's like officially with Tempest. And then those 2 guys are like scared of Diablo, knowing that he's an archdemon or just a demon. After that, I gained a physical body, and at last was able to start taking an active part in proceedings. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Great Rimuru was far more cruel than I'd given him credit for. I hastened to join him and take up service, but he shrugged me off with a mere, "You can go home now." That was the closest I've ever come to shedding tears. Yep, he's so disheartened about not being able to join Rimuru. Ranga was able to smooth things over, and I was welcomed into the fold after all. I like how he's thankful for Ranga. It's like, Ranga, thank you for letting me join Tempest. I will always be grateful to Ranga for that. It is a kindness I will never forget. Yeah, Ranga is the best boy. Like, even the demons love dogs, which is basically Ranga. And so, I was given a name, and officially became Great Rimuru's faithful servant. Ah ha ha ha. Don't say a word. I can tell how jealous you are. And here's something else to drive you wild with envy. In my capacity as his personal attendant, I am able to converse with Great Rimuru on everyday matters. I feel that we become closer every single day. What? You don't care? Please, there's no need to hide it. Here, let me delight you with some things he and I have discussed. There's no time for that. We clearly have very different ideas of what constitutes as valuable use of our time. How curious. Are we really out of time already? Good grief. Oh, I see your plan. You're just feigning lack of interest to make me want to tell you even more, aren't you? Aha! A naive strategy, but I'll let it slide and give you what you want. However, that will have to wait for another day. Farewell for now. I look forward to our next interview. So yeah, this story is apparently written by Fuse, but I do question like how canon these things are, because this only appears in the game. And it's like, if it's written by the author, it usually means that it's canon. Like, I don't know if like I can exactly believe that Diablo was watching the entire time and was waiting for that particular perfect opportunity to jump in. Like, I think more of the time of when the actual story was being written, he saw Rimuru become a demon lord and is like, ooh, okay, I want that guy to become my master because he's a slime, he has unique powers, and he's able to become a demon lord even though he's just a lowly slime. So I feel like that's why Diablo wanted to become his servant. But then again, who knows? Maybe this game is more correct than me on how things went. But yeah, that was a very interesting event. Although I wish we would have gotten to see more of the OVA, like how Shizu got out of that situation, to see if she teamed up with Diablo, or if she took down the demons by herself, or just Diablo took down all the demons. I'm gonna have to watch that for myself whenever I get to it. But it is interesting coming back to these, like, now that we're super far in the game storyline. So going back to like season like 2 halfway activities, when it took forever just to get into season 2, like stuff in the main story. So interesting. But yeah, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed Slime Isekai Memories interview with the Demon Butler. If you guys did, please make sure to follow me on all my social medias, like my Twitter, my Twitch, my YouTube, my D-Line, my TikTok, my Kick, Rumble, Odyssey, and Dailymotion. Make sure to check out my second YouTube channel, and like and comment on all my videos, and even join my Discord. There you can stay up to date with everything I choose to do, whether my streams, videos, or anything else. But yeah, hope to see you guys next time. Bye.